Hello guys, long time no see. I know I've been off YouTube for about 2-3 weeks because at the moment I'm working 7 days a week, sometimes 6, sometimes I get 1 day off, just to save up for my travels. So if you want to see a video on how to budget for travels, then I will make a video on that, because obviously that is a big thing for when you're going away. But this video is going to be about planning. So I'm going away in October, so you can plan this trip with me. So in this video I'm going to show you some tips on how I will plan a trip, because there is a lot of thought and effort that can go into planning a trip. When I was planning my big trip around the world, it probably took me a good few weeks to plan it properly. So I'm going to do a step-by-step guide on how to plan a travelling trip. So obviously the first thing is decide where you want to go. So this is my travel inspiration wall, and I've got a big map up here. So obviously you want to just have a look at the map, have a think about where you want to go, decide where in the world you want to explore. So for my trip, I am going to Cuba and Mexico. So the second thing that you want to decide is how long you've got to go. Now for my trip, I have got 1 month. So obviously this is going to depend whether you're working, whether you're not working. If you're not working, go for as long as you possibly can. Make your money stretch. If you are working, figure out how long you've got to go. So once you've decided how long you've got, then you want to decide to have a look at budget. So obviously you can't go away for 6 months if you've only got £1,000. That's not going to work. So you need to work budget and time together. There is rough guides on how much places are going to cost you per month, but obviously this is going to completely depend on what kind of traveller you are and where you go. So yes, this next bit is going to be completely about budget. Okay, so the biggest part of your spend is obviously going to be on flights. So what I would do is go onto a flight comparison website. So I use Skyscanner because it's probably one of the easiest to use. And just have a look how much flights are going to cost you. So if you're flexible, leave it at United Kingdom, anywhere in the United Kingdom. Put where you want to fly to. So I'm going to fly to Havana in Cuba. Now again, if you're flexible, if you click on the dates and go to here, you can select whole month and you can find the cheapest price. Now I have had a look at this before, so the day that is going to suit me the best and the cheapest price for me is October the 10th. So if I go to October the 10th, have a look. And you just want to play about with the flights. So for example, if you can fly into somewhere that is a little bit cheaper than where you're desiring to go, and you can get a bus from that airport to where you want to be, then and it's going to cost you less, then brilliant. So if you just play around with the flights, have a look where you can fly into, have a look at the map, where's closest. Another thing that I do when I'm looking for flights is contact companies like Round the World Experts. I use these for my flights when I did the flights around the world, and it worked out really cheap because they get deals with companies. But there is a link here, email an expert or call free on that number there. If you call them and see if you can get any deals with flight companies, then it might save you a lot of money. Once you've figured out how much the flights are going to cost you, you need to figure out how much money you're going to have left and whether that's going to last you for the time that you've got there. So my budget is around £1,800 minus the flights, which is about £600. I'm left with £1,200. So now I need to check whether that's going to last me for a month in Cuba and Mexico. You also want to bear in mind other factors. So that budget for me is for everything. So I'm going to have to factor in getting to the airport. So my flights are from Gatwick and I live in the Midlands, so I'm going to have to budget getting down to Gatwick and getting back from Gatwick. So for me that's going to cost me about £50, so minus that off your budget. You also want to factor in any internal flights. So I'm going to be flying from Havana to Cancun, and that's going to cost me £75, so minus that off your budget. So then minus travel insurance and minus buying things for the trip, I'm going to say that I'm going to be left with £1,000 for the whole trip. So then what you want to do is find out how much it's going to cost you per day to be where you want to be. So I'm just googling how much does it cost to travel Cuba. Okay, so the first link brought up this website for me. General costs in Cuba, budget per day is about £16 to £20. Mid-range is between £20 and £27, and then the top end is £32 to £42. So you want to do this for everywhere that you're going, figure out how much it's going to cost you per day. I have budgeted in about £30 per day for Mexico and for Cuba. So then you want to work out how many days you're going to be there and how much that's going to cost you for your whole trip. Now, let me just get my calculator because my maths is not that good. Even though I used to work in a bank, my maths is terrible. So I'm going to be there for, I just had to figure that out too. I'm going to be there for 30 days. So 30 times 30 is 900. So that's perfect because then I have a leeway of £100, which isn't that much over a month, but it's still a little bit of a cushion just in case I've budgeted wrong. One little tip that I've got for you when you're budgeting is go onto something like booking.com or hostel bookers and have a look how much different hostels are in different areas that you know you want to go to, so you can just get a kind of idea how much it's going to cost you. So one important thing that you want to do when you're looking at going somewhere is check whether you need a visa. Now for Cuba, you need to get something called a tourist card, and I need to send off a photocopy of my passport and stuff to the Cuban embassy, so you need to make sure you figure out visas because some visas you need to sort out before you arrive, whereas some of these are on arrival. So just have a look, figure out what you need. So once you've figured out your budget and whether you can afford to go where you want to go for as long as you want to go, then you want to figure out some kind of rough itinerary. Now I would not recommend planning absolutely everything down to a T, so you've got literally place to place in your head and you've got every single hostel booked and your activities booked when you get there. I don't think that's a good idea. Personally, if you're scared to travel on your own, maybe do it that way for the first time, but you're going to limit yourself. If you end up going somewhere really cool and you meet someone really cool and they're like, oh, come with me, we're going to this place, but you can't because you've booked a bus somewhere else and you've booked your accommodation there, then you're going to be gutted, trust me. So just keep it open, but have an idea in your head of the route that you want to take. So when I'm looking for routes, one little thing that I do, which is quite cheeky, is have a look on websites like SCA Travel or Intrepid Travel, where they do the trips there, where you pay and you go with a group. Have a look on there, have a look at their itineraries, see if you like the idea of where they're going and copy it if you think they're going to a good place. And obviously just use this for ideas of where the main tourist routes are. So I've just googled Intrepid Travel Mexico, and it just comes up with a list of loads of different places and routes that people take when they're traveling Mexico. So if you click on one of them, for example, it brings up this, which is just a route that you could take if you are traveling through the country. So the next thing that I would do is write down all of these places that pop up when I'm looking at different itineraries, when I'm looking at reviews or when I'm looking at blogs. Just write down all the different names of all these places that keep popping up. Google them, see which ones take my fancy. If you Google image play, even if it's like a city, if you Google image it, generally that'll give you a good feel of like what the place is like. So I'll Google image it, look at things about the place and decide whether I want to go there. So one last thing I would say to research when you're looking at planning your trip in this place is transport. So once you've got your itinerary, have a look how you're going to get from place to place. So just Google, for example, in Mexico, Google Cancun to Playa del Carmen, and you'll get loads of either TripAdvisor forums or Lonely Planet forums, and they will bring up how you can get from place to place. So just figure it out whether it's possible, but you can also figure it out once you're there. So, but as long as you've got a rough idea of where you want to go and how much it's going to cost you, then you're sorted. So you have your flights planned, you have your budget planned, you have where you want to go planned, you're absolutely sorted. So just enjoy having a look at all the different places that you can go, get excited about your travels, because I'm really excited for my next travels. I'm going in October, I can't remember if I told you. Hopefully I'm going to be booking the flights today or tomorrow, and I'm really excited. Yeah! Sorry, a little bit of a weird moment there. So I really hope you enjoyed my video. I have to go to work now because I'm working stupid hours to save up for my trip. Hopefully it won't be too long before the next video is up, but I don't know when I will next be alive to be able to film a video. I've been so tired because of working so many hours, but hopefully it won't be too long. Yes, look forward to seeing some vlogs from Mexico and Cuba. Let me know if any of you guys are planning a trip in the comments below, because it's really exciting to hear where other people are going and how you're planning on doing it. So yeah, I really hope you enjoyed, and I will speak to you all soon. Bye!